We're using the relationships among fractions, decimals, and percents. It's helpful if the students are able to work smart and use the information that they have instead of doing a lot of calculations when they really don't have to. For example, if I know the unit fraction 1/4 is equivalent to 25 hundredths, and I know that the percent is 25%, then I can use that information to figure out what 3/4 is. Some kids aren't able to look at 3/4 and remember it, or especially when we get into like those middle school grades, we like students to sometimes memorize the easier fractions. But if they can't remember those easier fractions, decimals, and percents, then this is a strategy that can help them. We know that if we multiply 3 times the 1/4, that's going to give us 3/4. And so we're using that information for the unit fraction. And so if we multiply 3 times 25 hundredths, we know that's going to give us 75 hundredths, which is 3/4 equivalent decimal. And because we know that automatically this is going to be 75%. This strategy works with any of our fractions, decimals, and percents. So if kids are able to understand the unit fraction and how it relates, then they're able to build off of what they know to find equivalent fractions, decimals, and percents. So for example, with 1/8, this is one that's difficult for students because the decimal is through to the thousandths place, and kids really struggle with changing those thousands into percents. So if they know 1/8, and if that's something that they memorize, and they know that 1/8 is 125 thousandths as a decimal, they also know that this is 12.5% as a percent. So if they have this information in their brains and they can use this information to figure out what 3/8 is. 3/8 is 3 times 1/8. So to find the decimal equivalent, they would multiply 3 times 0.125. 0 times 125 thousandths gives them 375 thousandths. And so then they know that the equivalent percent is 37.5%. For 5/8, it would be the same exact thing. Instead of multiplying the 3 by 1/8, they would multiply the 5 times 1/8, and they would get 625 thousandths and 62.5%. This strategy works especially well when students understand those relationships and they understand the unit fraction and how to use that and apply that knowledge to find those equivalent fractions, decimals, and percents